Is this new release from Maker's Mark really a keeper? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, but he has a brand new video. Back in 2023, we were told that this bottle right here, the Maker's Mark Wood Finish Series BEP, was going to be the last edition of the Wood Finished series that Maker's Mark was going to be doing. Now, we had the BRTs, the BEP, the FAEs, and so on and so forth for many, many years. And Maker's Mark said, you know what, we're done with that. But were they really? Because last year we had the Maker's Mark Heart release. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. I was fortunate to taste it before contemplating buying it, and I didn't end up buying it. But this year, we've got the brand new Maker's Mark, the Keepers release, 2025. But if you guys can see on the top of the bottle there, it says Wood Finishing Series. So Maker's Mark lied to us. Kind of, because I think that they were hinting at that they were going to finish with this style bottle. I think that's what they were getting at with that, because, well, we've got these still, and I'm excited for this one. This one's coming in at 109.2 proof. It's got notes of bold oak and toasted sweetness. It's got 10 virgin toasted American oak staves, and it's the release for 2025. Now, make sure you guys drop that like on this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Maker's Mark Wood Finish Series if you've gotten your hands on this bottle right here. And, well, if you want to get a sample of this bottle, all you got to do is join in on the Patreon. Help support the channel like you wouldn't believe. For as little as $2 a month, you get in on free sample giveaways like this one. You get in on fun bottle raffles and barrel picks coming in the second half of 2025 that you're not going to want to miss out on. And, well, let's crack this Maker's Mark Keepers release, and let's see if this bad boy is a keeper. Let's get that fresh pop, right? Let's see what that pop of the Maker's Mark Keepers release sounds like. Oh, that was a good pop. That's a good pop right there. So, before we dive into the nose of the Keeper's release, let me read you the side of the label that pays homage to what this release is all about. The second series of our limited wood finishing series pursues unique taste visions that celebrate those who craft our handmade bourbon at Star Hill Farm, the makers of makers. The Keeper's release is a one-of-a-kind expression inspired by the people who oversee the maturation of our whiskey. The true keepers of winters and hot Kentucky summers, they deploy a deep knowledge of the aging process, hand-rotating casks to ensure every single drop of our whiskey emerges from the barrel at its very best. This is a bold expression with hints of oak and toasted sweetness. We hope you enjoy this one as much as we enjoy making it. Well, that's what we're going to find out today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got it in the glass. Let's get in the nose and see what we can find. Nuttiness. I get a really nice nuttiness. Almonds. It's not a peanut. It's not a peanutty nuttiness. It's a very nice almond, kind of like honestly, toasted almonds in a way. Maybe not toasted almonds, but I do get like a candied, like sugar-coated almond. A little bit of a coffee note. Hints of vanilla and like an orange marmalade almost. Like a French vanilla almost. Is this finished with French vanilla? No, virgin toasted American oak staves. But I get almost what a French oak kind of gives, that deeper, darker vanilla kind of aspect. It's a very nice, rich nose. You could dive into this thing really, really nicely at 109.2 proof. You know, it's not the proofiest Maker's Mark I've ever had, but you do get a little bit of a sting from the ethanol if you keep your nose in there too long. I do kind of get almost like the top of like a barn almost, like the hay baley kind of nose. Gets a little bit of an earthy nose. And I'm going to assume that's because the Maker's Mark is a wheated bourbon. But it is, like it says, it's bold, It's got a touch of an oak. I would assume for me the oakiness that they're finding might be the barnyardy kind of note that I'm getting on here, and I do get a really nice toasted, sugary coated almondy nuttiness on here. But let's get into the palate, see just how good this Maker's Mark Keepers release really is. First thing that kind of does hit you off of the bat with this first sip is a little bit of a proof, but it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing whatsoever. Once that goes away, I get a little bit of a leathery note. I get a little bit of a coffee espresso, almost like a really dry chocolate that coats everything. You know, going back in after that second sip, it's a very different experience. I think that with that first sip, it kind of just hits you in the face that, hey, it's not a proof. It's a dryness that this whiskey has to offer. And that's what I'm finding on that second sip. A really nice dry effect that comes through from the oaky experience and the expression from the oak in this whiskey right here. It's really, really nice. It's pleasant. You don't get a lot of that burn on that second sip. I'm going to go back in for a third one. You know, I always try and find a couple of things that these whiskeys kind of match. And if I had to kind of put into perspective of what kind of a dessert I'm getting a little bit of a bready quality, but a really nice sweet bread. And I could only imagine, you know, doing like a little bit of like an almond butter on a toasted, I don't want to say rye bread because I'm getting a little bit of a spice, but I guess you could say a nice rye bread. You put an almond butter on there, and on the other side, a nice orange marmalade. I'm getting that nuttiness, that bready quality, might be a little bit more of a rye bread, and then that really nice, you know, sweet, thick orange marmalade that just wraps everything together, almost like a PB&J in a way. And I really do like this. It's really nice. But the one thing I wouldn't say that this is bold. I wouldn't say that it's the boldest expression from Maker's Mark that I've ever had. You know, I wouldn't put it on par with the cellar aged. But what I would say is I do like this a lot better than the Heart release from 2024. And, you know, hopefully I can get a sample of the Heart release and we can do a comparison of the Heart release, the Keepers, and, you know, previous, the BEPs and BRTs and things along those lines, and do a full, you know, blind with these. Because this one's really nice, and I do think that it's on par with what the BRT was of 2023. And I really like that one. You know, going in before that sip right there, what I forgot to mention was just how long the finish on this went for. And it was a very pleasant experience the entire time. It was sweet. You got a little bit of an oaky presence, but again, I wouldn't say a bold oak. You know, but I did find a really nice vanilla note on that back end and the tail end of that finish that I was a big fan of. This is a really nice whiskey at, you know, $80 to $90. I think it's well worth it for, you know, the limited releases from Maker's Mark. If you can't get your hands on a cellar aged, I think that the wood finished series offerings are definitely a must get in my personal opinion. Do I wish that they were still that $60, $65? 100%, 1,000%, 1,000,000%. But with the way this whiskey world is going right now, we're just not going to get the whiskey and the prices that we wish we could. But nonetheless, worth it. I 100% believe this bottle of Maker's Mark, the Wood Finish series, the Keepers release, is a keeper. Like I said, if you guys want a sample of this, you got to get in on the Patreon to get your chances of that. Let me know your favorite Maker's Mark down in the comments below. Drop that like and smash that subscribe button. But until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.